Howdy, folks. I'm Brian.
I'm Amber, and thanks for the birthday wishes.
And here's some Reddit. I did get Amber presents. I got Amber a trash bag and, full of old pillows, and she loved it.
That was not the present. That was the gag present. So I wake up this morning, I ask Brian for my presents. He brings me a trash bag down into the bedroom. And so he's like, you have to close your eyes. So I close my eyes, but I start peeking. And so he makes me put on, I have this sleep mask eye thingy. He makes me put that on. So I can't see, and has me reach into the bag. And I feel one of my pillows I sewed. And so that was the gag gift. I was like, you brought me my pillows. Okay. That was not the real present.
I got Amber mostly clothes and some jewelry and some
nail polish.
Yeah. So, yeah. She had a fun birthday present.
I did. I appreciate it. So, thank you everyone for the birthday wishes. I'm going to go back to reading my manuscript I'm working on. It's a birthday tradition of mine, reading over and seeing how terrible I feel about it at the moment. So, it's not completely garbage at the moment, so we're doing better than some years.
Good. Happy birthday tradition. Let's get started. Am I a jerk for emasculating my husband in front of his parents? I'm a 25-year-old female, and I've been dating my husband, a 30-year-old male, for 5 years, and we've been married for 2. He is very much a traditional man's man, but never bothered our relationship till now, so I didn't care. 2 days prior, he wanted to visit his parents now that we're all vaccinated. He asked me to come along too, and I complied since I really enjoy most of his family. We went and had a great time until his father suggested a drinking contest. Basically a family tradition to see who could drink the most cups of watered-down beer in a set amount of time. It usually is only my father-in-law, husband, brother-in-law, and sister-in-law's husband. This time, I wanted to try out too, and challenged my husband to one. He laughed and said, okay. Well, I won, and he got very frustrated. He pulled me into an empty room and started saying how I embarrassed him, and how it was emasculating for him, and I should be sorry. I told him not to get so serious, and left the room. After 2 hours or so of cold stares from my husband, I suggested leaving. He said he wanted to stay at his brother's house for the day and drove there while leaving me to walk home. It's around 45-minute away walking distance. I found what he did kind of petty, but at night my brother-in-law calls me and tells me how upset my husband was because I humiliated him and made him feel like less of a man. I called my husband and apologized, but he's not returned to me since. So Reddit, am I a jerk for emasculating my husband in front of around 10 family members? OP, no, you're not a jerk in this situation, and your husband needs to grow up. The only person who's emasculating your husband right now is himself with his childish attitude. And the thing is this. Why would you measure how much of a man you are by how much watered down beer you can drink? That's a peculiar, one might even say, measure of how manly you are. And even if you were interested in these kinds of measuring contests, why would it matter if your wife beat you or not? I mean, this is so odd that he would be so upset by this. And, the thing is that it seems to me that he's taking himself way, way too seriously here. And I just don't understand when people take themselves as seriously. To me personally, it just seems overboard. Like, you're going to distance yourself from your wife and, turn your back on her because she was able to drink more watered down beer than you. That just seems so absurd. Just absolutely absurd. So no, I can't see that you're the jerk in this situation. I honestly think that your husband's overreacting. I don't think you should have even apologized to him. And if he was this uncomfortable with being beat by you, then maybe he should have thought about that before agreeing to have a contest with you. Plain and simple. If you can't handle being the loser of a contest, then don't enter the contest. Plain and simple. And that's just kind of my thoughts here. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, he emasculated himself with his reaction. That's my thoughts. I'm unsure how it's even emasculating, like on a personal level. Didn't she also beat the other relatives as well? That's what I was thinking. Why would you be sorry? It was a contest that you won, and it's that simple. If his ego is that fragile, and he reacted that strongly over something so silly, I'd be concerned about what else will emasculate him in the future. I'd say marriage counseling may be in order. This is the kind of thinking that can truly derail a marriage over time, and it's probably best to head it off at the pass, not the jerk. He was acting like a child, but I want to know why anyone isn't mentioning that she had to walk home, which is 45 minutes away. I mean, he seriously made his wife walk home. Yeah, I actually kind of forgot to mention or even talk about that on that point. Why didn't his family reach out to her and offer a ride back to her house? I mean, why wasn't the family a little more supportive of her in this situation too? It seems like that's a really odd thing. Like, he storms off and leaves and basically leaves her at this house, and no one else was like, hey, maybe we should give you a ride. Our son is acting like a real uncool person. Not the jerk. What is truly emasculating is the fact that he's hiding out at his brother's house acting like a petulant child over a contest. He should be embarrassed by his actions after losing, not by the fact that he lost. I hope you are using an effective form of birth control, because you certainly don't want to deal with being a single parent for who knows how long, since this is probably how he'll react if a child turns out to be good at something that he isn't. That might actually be a valid point. Like, what's going to happen if his child beats him at something? Alright, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Being Upset About a Stolen Name? My husband is a 26-year-old male, and I'm a 28-year-old female, and we've been trying for over 2 years to have a baby. I do have PCOS and other fertility issues, so it's been a struggle. We were pregnant, and I had a miscarriage at 7 weeks, and had trouble ever since then. My best friend, a 29-year-old female of 12 years, and I had always hoped we would get pregnant around the same time so our kids would have a chance at growing up as besties as well. Having a friendship that long, we have known the like and dislikes of each other like the back of our hands. We've discussed weddings and baby names and future dogs, all of it. Well, she found out that she was pregnant. I was ecstatic and over the moon for her. I couldn't have been more excited, and I was definitely excited to gain a niece or a nephew. After her anatomy scan, I was given the gender envelope and planned on a huge party we had always talked about wanting. At the party, we were happy to announce that she was having a girl, a cute little mini to love on. She was going to use the name that she had picked out, and everything was perfect. Well, 2 weeks ago, she texted me and told me that she was going to use the name that I was in love with instead. She said the name I had picked out went better with her last name versus mine. I have never in my life felt so hurt. When I voiced that with her, she told me I was overreacting and had no reason to be mean to her and just to let her have the name. I have wanted this name for years, and she just swooped it out right from underneath me. I haven't talked that much to her, and just today she said I need to stop being a jerk and just be her friend again because it's only a name. I know that it's my best friend, but I don't know if I want to be friends now. I feel as if I can't trust her. Am I being overdramatic and the jerk? Editing to add, the name is a name I came up with. I have never heard anyone use this name, which I think is where the hurt comes from the most. Second edit, my friend has agreed to sit down and talk today over lunch. We will see how things go, and I will continue to update the post. Thank you folks for your opinions. I will definitely take them all into consideration. I appreciate the responses. All right, OP. I mean, I don't think that you're the jerk in this situation. It sounds like you had a personal attachment to this name, and it sounds like your friend kind of fell in love with it and also wanted to use it. I think it would have been different if she had sat down with you and actually had a conversation and asked you for permission to use this name, but that's not what happened here. And I think it would still have been a little bit tacky for her to do that. She, instead of, sitting down and talking to you, she just demanded that she was going to use the name. She just said, I'm going to use this now. It works better for my last name than yours anyhow. So don't feel bad. Like, what kind of reassurance is that? That isn't. The thing is that she is acting like a jerk in this situation, and you would have used the name a long time ago if you had been able to. Your first pregnancy that ended early, you would have used that name if you could have. So I think that this is a really unfortunate situation, and I think that she is, as you said, swooping out and stealing the name from underneath of you, and I don't think that's a good thing to do, especially for someone who you trust and know. Well, this isn't some random person that you don't really know well who thought that it was a cool name they once heard or something like that from you and decided to use it on their own. This is someone who you're going to be close with and who you're going to be familiar with their child, and so the constant reminder of her with that name could be especially hurtful, because if, say, for instance, you weren't ever able to have a child, then are you going to be comfortable with that? Are you going to be comfortable with knowing that that name has gone to someone who isn't your child? So I think that this is a difficult situation. I don't think that you're in the wrong here. I think your friend is acting like a jerk, and that you have every right to be upset by this. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Nobody owns a name. She's a jerk. Use the name anyways, not the jerk. This. Tell her that she can name the child the name you wanted and name your child the same. See how she reacts. Tell her, you are welcome to use any name you want, but I am free to be hurt and never view you the same way again. You decided taking the name I chose was more important than our friendship, so I guess I know that now. Call me whatever names you like, but it doesn't take away my own hurt feelings. I think it would be best if we had some distance from each other from this point forward, so we can both do what we feel is best. Also, when I do have a child, that child will have the same name. Have a good life. I think it's very important in these situations to make it very clear that the relationship will never be the same. Chances are you will not want to be around a child with the name that you picked out as a constant reminder of your friend's betrayal. She would know that, and if she still chooses to use the name, she can't say she didn't know. I also highly recommend blocking her on social media. This type of person is probably going to try and get people on her side, and you don't need any of that. I think that this person hits the nail on the head here. The OP really needs to set out their expectations and what's going to happen here forward, and just outline it all and tell their friend that this is a friendship ending event, if that's what this is. So I think that's a really solid piece of advice there. Am I a jerk for not telling my parents the truth about working at an adult toy shop? My parents are pretty close-minded, and adult fun time was always a weird subject for them. Like when I was a teen, they got me a book about it, and my dad told me to use protection when I'm with my girlfriend, but that's literally it. They told me to ask my healthcare teacher if I had a question. They were just weird about it for some reason, but I get some people have their stuff. They were needing help with rent, and I needed somewhere cheap to stay because I'm paying for my college classes right now, so I moved back with them during lockdown last year. My other job wasn't working out, and luckily, I found out that there was this one at a adult toy shop that reopened and was looking around for people. I got the job, but I didn't tell my parents where. All I said was that it was a small retail store. It's been pretty cool so far. hours work with my schedule and the pay is good, and I get the employee discount, which my girlfriend loves. Anyway, guess who randomly popped up once during my shift? Yep, my mom. We literally looked at each other like we just got caught red-handed. She walked in and saw me, then panicked and walked out. It's not something that anyone likes to think about when it comes to their parents, so it was awkward for me. My coworker said it happens when we run into people we know. My mom was just ignoring me when I got home, and when we were alone, she went off on me for lying about where I worked and said she would never have gone if she knew I worked there. She also asked me not to tell my dad, and she's just mad at me now for putting her in an awkward position. But I said that they were weird about adult fun time in general, that I didn't want to mention where I worked, so they wouldn't get weird about that too. She is still ignoring me, and my poor dad has no idea why we're not talking to each other like normal, and I'm not sure, maybe I was a jerk for not being honest about it in the first place. Alright, OP. I would be hard-pressed to fault you in this situation. I think that your mom may have overreacted in this situation, but she was also probably feeling very vulnerable in this situation. And unfortunately, this is kind of a thing of their own crafting. You didn't want to approach them very reasonably because they were very standoffish about anything like this. So I can certainly understand your hesitation to tell them that you work at a shop like this. And to make matters even more complicated, you probably assumed that they wouldn't be going to a shop like this if they were so kind of close-minded towards these types of things. So you probably thought, oh, this is going to be a safe job. I won't see my parents here. So it was odd probably for you to see that because of the difference in your parents' attitude. So, that's just kind of where I stand. I don't really think that you're a jerk in this situation. I honestly don't even know if your mom is necessarily a jerk, but I do think she overreacted, and I think that she needs to come to terms with the fact that this isn't a big deal, and it shouldn't be something that she should be that embarrassed by. Really, I think the best you can do is talk to her, sit down and say, look, I'm not working here to embarrass you. I'm not going to tell anyone that I saw you in the shop. I'll let you know what my shifts are, and if you want to drop in there when I'm not around, feel free. But she probably is embarrassed, she's probably hurt. She also probably had an agenda that she was going to carry out at that shop, and, you may have ruined her experience or made it even that much more awkward for her. And not that you did this on purpose, this isn't your fault, but it just is probably how she's feeling. She's probably just feeling very uncomfortable and very vulnerable, and understandably so. But you're definitely not a jerk, and your mom might be a slight jerk. So, good luck. Take care, and good luck. Not the jerk. She can have her secrets and you can have yours. That's also hilarious, and I'm sorry. Maybe you haven't read the mother's reaction, but she was acting like a jerk in my opinion. Plus, putting your child between a secret and your partner is also a huge jerk move in my book. That is actually a bit of a jerk situation, that she's kind of, making a big deal on this and not talking normal. But I imagine over time, given time, she'll come out of her shell, and the past will heal. Time will heal all wounds here. If you want me to pretend like this never happened, that's fine, but you need to speak to me for that to work. If you can't, then I'm just going to have to admit to Dad why. So I generally kind of agree with the theme of this comment, but I think that the mom really needs time and space to process this. This is, of course, a embarrassing thing to her. But also, she is putting her child in an unfair position where there's now this awkwardness at home that the dad doesn't understand, that someone's going to need to explain to him at some point in time. Just be like, oh, Dad, I'm sorry, I accidentally walked in on Mom while she was showering. That's why she's being like this. It's awkward, and she'll eventually get over it. Then you've saved your mom's, reputation, so to speak. I don't know. And it's all for a white lie. Haha, what a story. Totally not the jerk. You're an adult. I love how she's mad at you for lying. Then she told you not to tell your dad. This story has everything. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.